recap what we have done in session 1. In session 1, I have talked about what is big data, why we use big data, what is the difference between big data and data science, and there's one more thing. Any ideas what were the three characteristics of big data, the three V's? That is very important topic. So now I am continuing with my next session, that is how big data is being used. How is big data used? This is our today's topic. Okay. So now the first is understanding and targeting customers. So in this session, I will be telling you how big data has been used in the industry purpose. According to the industries, how big data has been used, the main application. So first is understanding and targeting customers. So this means that how big data has been used, how it understands and targets the customers based on their recommendations and the user choices. So in this, company are keen to expand their industrial data sets with social media data set, browser logs, as well as data analytics and session sensor data to get more picture of their customers. So this is the first application of big data. This means that there are like various companies which make various data sets for social media, browser logs, as well as text analytics and sensor data, so that they get a complete picture about the customers. They get a complete analysis what their customer think, how they are using the application, how they are getting their data, and so on. Okay, so this is the example of understanding and targeting customers of big data. So next comes understanding and optimizing business process. So in this, it is used to optimize the business process. The business process is like how the business roadmap of business flow is going on through big data. So big data is also increasingly used to optimize business processes. Retailers are able to optimize their stock based on prediction generated from social media data, web searches, trends, and with the forecast. So there is another example of big data, how to optimizing the business processes. For example, let's take an example of any of the e-commerce company, either Amazon, Grofers, Big Basket. So they have their data in the system. So when the data has been sold to the customers, so that data has been updated live in a real time, so that on those predictions they can analyze that what are the data, what are the items that they are selling to a customer are in the warehouses. So this is how the big data has been used in real time. Okay, for example, I have my own retailer shop. I am selling so much of goods, so much of groceries to the customers. I have to take care about my stock in my warehouse. So big data helps me to predict how much stock is there in the warehouse, how much data I have provided from the customers. So it analyzes the stock through that particular data. So this is the second example, understanding and optimizing business processes. Now comes the third example of personal quantification and performance optimization. So this is a very good and interesting topic and an interesting example of personal quantification and personal performance optimization. So big data is not just for companies and governments, but also for all of us individually. It means that big data is not meant for only companies and governments. It is for us as well. Each and everyone uses big data. Each and everyone uses big data. That I have told you earlier as well. How in a phone we have so much of data. How in a social media company user has so much of photos. Like that, in personal life we use big data. Big data has benefited us in so many times. So for example, they like some wearable devices that nowadays each and every would like to wear, like smartwatches, smart bracelets. So that smartwatch collects a data, a real-time data, via the sensors, from the sensors, the steps that you are walking, the messages and the calls that you're receiving. That data it predicts in a real time, and that data has been transferred to you in that particular application that is being installed in the particular mobile. Okay, so this is how personal quantification performance optimization example is. Okay, so next is improving healthcare and public health. So nowadays everyone knows that healthcare is a very in a boost. So this is how big data is being used in healthcare. So big data analytics allow us to find new cures and better understanding and predict disease patterns. So if for example I have a device, any device that I made in healthcare. So the data that we have of a particular patients, it helps us to find that what is the disease behind there, how to cure that particular disease so that we can predict the disease pattern and give a particular treatment to that patient. So this is how healthcare is being used in the industry for the big data. Okay. For example, there are like various examples, like Apple has made an application to predict healthcare analysis so that accordingly, if any patient has some issues or anything, then it can predict through that data and give some cure treatments or some recommendations. Okay, so the another point is like it happens in all the individual data from smartwatches and wearable devices can be used to apply it to millions of people and various diseases. So as I've told you earlier, like the personal quantification and performance optimization, it goes through the wearable devices. So wearable devices also plays an important role in improving healthcare and public health. So through those devices, through those sensors in that particular watch or some wearable bracelets, they collect the real-time data and predict that if he has any disease pattern or how to cure and how to prevent from that particular disease. So this is how healthcare and public health uses in big data. So this is all about some applications about how big data has been used, or we say some applications in big data. So let's continue with ethics in big data. So before I get started with ethics of big data, I have told you an example of Apple. So Apple has its own health app called Research Kit. So it is effectively just turned your phone into biomedical research device. Researchers are now able to study through this, which they collect data and input from users' mobiles to compile for their health studies. So this is a good example of Apple new healthcare called Research Kit. Okay. So now let's started with data ethics. So ethics in big data. So each and everyone know that each and every technology have some particular ethics. In cybersecurity, we have some ethics. In any of the programming languages, we have some ethics. We have some rules to use that particular language. So let's just started with ethics in big data. So the first is big data and privacy. Everyone knows that in the real-time world, data is an important privacy part for the customers, for ourselves, for each and every one. So we have to protect our data, and for the companies, big data privacy is an important thing. So while big data offers a variety of benefits to organizations to all shapes and sizes, it also comes with several noteworthy privacy risks, including so the first privacy risk is data breaches. Data breaches is when information is accessed without authorization. Okay, it this means that when data is accessed from a particular system or for a particular server without authorization, in most cases data breaches are the result of outdated software, weak passwords, targeted malware attacks. So this is an first privacy that should be taken care by each and every organization. So the information of customers are very important to store. So we have to make sure that The software should be up to date. It should have a unique password, and it should not be targeted malware attacks. It means that we have to maintain that data daily. Okay. So unfortunately, they can cost an organization damage reputation and a great deal in money. Yeah, it is right. So we have to take care of data breaches. So this is the first privacy risk, data breaches. Now let's come to a second data privacy risk, that is data brokerage. Data brokerage is the sale of unprotected and incorrect data is considered as data brokerage. So please note, sale of unprotected and incorrect data. For example, if any of the data is like unprotected or we have some wrong data in a server. For example, there is incorrect email ID, if we have incorrect phone number, that is considered as data brokerage. Okay, some companies gather and sell customer profiles. There are many companies around the world. They collected data from for their company reputation to show some traction, or but they sell that customer profile which contain some true information as well and some false information as well, that leads to fault algorithms. If we are giving some false information to the companies, to some clients, then it means that data is being used, the customer data is being used, some false information is being passed. So this is not allowed in big data risk. So this is the beyond the ethics, it is illegal around the world. So the last is data discrimination. So everyone know what is data, and discrimination means it do not like depend upon whether on its age, gender, individual, organization in which he is working and all. So data discrimination means it consists of customer demographic information. Organization may develop algorithms that penalize individuals based on age, gender, or ethnicity. So there is no data discrimination for the people that the data we have. So the data is being penalized on basis of age, gender, ethnicity, name, class, and etc. Okay. So let's go to our next topic of ethics in big data is data governance. So this is a very, very important topic of data. So data governance is here the main ethics. So how we are using the data in the security for the enterprises and each and everything. So here how I will be like discussing this. So it processes of managing the availability, usability, integrity, and security of the data and enterprise systems based on internal data standards and policies that also control data usage. So in data governance, it means it manages the availability of data, usability, and integrity and security of data in a particular enterprise system based on internal data standard policies. This internal data standard policies, IDSP, you can learn from the short term IDSP, which controls that data usage. So data governance is it is like a police for the data. They see that if any enterprises is holding a particular data in the ethics of big data, and if anyone found guilty, then a strict action is being taken from internal data standard and policies from a particular government. Okay, so next one is it ensures that data is consistently and trustworthy and doesn't get misused. So data governance is based on this, like the data that we have of a particular customer is not being misused by the company or a particular enterprise. Okay, so this is how I've told you how we use big data, how is the ethics in big data, the big data and the privacy, and the last, data governance. So this is my end of the session. Thank you so much. We'll meet you in the next session. In next session, we will learn something more exciting in big data. Thank you.